In today's halacha, we're going to go into a summary of laws and directives that relate to the Rosh Hashanah meals. It is a mitzvah to eat on Rosh Hashanah. The reason why this is emphasized is because it used to be that there were Jews that were accustomed to actually fast on Rosh Hashanah. And there were opinions that held this way, la halacha, that Rosh Hashanah is a fast day. So therefore, it's passed in the Shulchanaruchharav to negate this opinion that it is a mitzvah to eat, drink, and rejoice on Rosh Hashanah. It's brought down in chapter 582, based on the pasuk, on chapter 583, based on the pasuk in Nehemiah, that throughout the meals of Rosh Hashanah, the custom is to eat rich meat, which is fatty meat, and drink sweet beverages. And other sweets as an omen that the year should be sweet and rich. Just like we eat other omens of sweet things, so too we have rich meat and sweet beverages. Nevertheless, it's brought down that one should not fully satiate himself, as when it becomes fully satiated, it leads towards frivolous behavior and towards sleepiness. And since one should be constantly conscious of Hashem during this holy day, one should not fill himself. The biblical mitzvah of simcha does not apply in Rosh Hashanah. Thus, one is not obligated to drink wine, a revius of wine, for the mitzvah of simcha, and is likewise not obligated to buy his wife clothing or jewelry on behalf of Rosh Hashanah. This is written in chapter 529. Nonetheless, although there is no obligation of simcha to drink wine, as on any yontif, it is proper and it's a mitzvah to establish the meal over wine, and therefore wine should be drunk during the Rosh Hashanah meal. This is unlike those opinions which is the Magen Avram and the Beis Yosef that hold that one should not drink wine in Rosh Hashanah other than Kiddush out of the seriousness of the day. Although it is generally forbidden to fast until midday on a holiday, on a yontif, on Rosh Hashanah, it is permitted to do so, and therefore there's no need to worry if until after Tkiyah Shofar and after Shachris and Musaf it will be past midday and one still hasn't eaten or drank. It is preferable to begin the day meal of the first and second day of Rosh Hashanah this year prior to the 10th hour of the day, which is approximately 3 Zmanius hours before sunset. This follows the same law of Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, that it is proper to begin the meal before the 10th hour of the day in order so you'll be hungry and feel a need to eat for the night meal. So the first day of Hashanah we want to still feel a need to eat for that night's meal of the second night of Hashanah. And this year on the second day of Hashanah we want to feel that we still have an appetite for the night meal of Shabbos. As on all Yom Tovim, it's an obligation for one to invite the poor, orphans, widows, and those in need for the Yom Tov meals. And if one does not do so, as it says in the pasuk, this is not considered a meal in honor of Yom Tov, but a meal in honor of satiation of his abdomen. The meal menu. The table is to be set before Yom Tov. This is usually taken care of by the mother or someone else in the house. Nevertheless, it is brought in Pesachim that if the husband comes home from shul and doesn't find his table set, Chas v'shalom to become angry, as anger is a very bad omen on Rosh Hashanah, and he should judge her favorably and not hold any resentment in her heart. Kiddush is performed standing, as on all times of the year. Shechianu is recited during Kiddush on both the first and second night of Rosh Hashanah. Nonetheless, one who had recited Shechianu by candlelighting, such as a woman who is making Kiddush for herself, or a man who is lighting candles and mistakenly says Shechianu by candlelighting, then he does not repeat the Shechianu again by Kiddush. By the night Kiddush of the second day of the second night of Rosh Hashanah, we are accustomed to take a new fruit or wear a new garment in order so we have no doubt as regards to the blessing of Shechianu. As regarding whether one should say Shechianu on the second night, it is disputed amongst Pesachim. Practically, if one does not have a new fruit, we rule that he is to say Shechianu nonetheless. However, initially, every person is to try to have a new fruit or wear a new garment when he says Shechianu by candlelighting and as well by Kiddush of the second night. The order is as follows. One places the new fruit next to the person making Kiddush, and when the person says the bracha of Shechianu by Kiddush, he has in mind also the new fruit. Immediately after Kiddush and drinking the wine without making any interval of speech or any other sort, he is to say a bracha of ha'et and eat the new fruit, eat a kazayis of the new fruit. Our minhag in Chabad is to eat at least a kazayis. Everyone else on the table is likewise accustomed to eat from the new fruit, and we specifically try to eat at least a kazayis, and after we finish eating the kazayis, we say a bari nefashis, and only afterwards do we wash our hands for the meal. This is opposed to the first night of Rosh Hashanah, in which we do not eat any of the simanim, any of the fruits. We do not eat the apple and honey until after we wash. Likewise, the rimin is not to be saved to be used for the second night as a new fruit, as we will see shortly, the rimin is one of the simanim to be eaten on the first night, and is specifically to be eaten on the first night. The custom is to dip the challah and honey throughout the Rosh Hashanah meals, and we are accustomed to do so as well throughout all the Yom Tov and Shabbos meals until Hashanah. We likewise do so on Erev and Motzei Yom Kippur. However, we do not do so during the week. It is customary to have salt on the table, even though we will not be dipping in the salt, in order to have the advantage of the mitzvah of having salt on a table, just like salt is found on the mizbeach. So although we're dipping in honey, we also have salt on the table. The custom is to have round challahs for Rosh Hashanah as a symbol of a crown which is round, that we are crowning Hashem as king. Other reasons are also mentioned in the Farshim. On the first night, after Hamaitzi has been recited and a kazayis of challah has been eaten, one dips a piece of an apple in honey and recites the bracha of ha'etz. One should have in mind all the other fruits that he'll be eating that night when he says the bracha of ha'etz. Likewise, before eating from the fruit, after he says the blessing of ha'etz, he first says the yehi ratzon shedachadash aleinu shada tova as written in the siddur. We do not wait to eat from the fruit until saying the yehi ratzon. Rather, we say it immediately after the bracha, before eating from the apple. This is the Chabad custom, and it is not followed by most sects of Jewry, but this is the way we received from the Rebbe Rayatz. The simanim that are eaten on the first night are as follows. So in Sefer Minhagim, the only simanim that are written that are custom for sure for a Chabad family to eat is the rimin and the apple dipped in honey and the head of a ram or the head of a fish. And all that we have on the first night. And as we said before, for this reason, the rimin is to be eaten specifically in the first night as a sin. Other simanim that are written in Shulchanaruchharav, not necessarily negated by Chabad custom, and regarding this, each family should follow what they are accustomed to, are the following foods. The leek, which is karti, the beets, which is silka, date, which is tamri, squash, which is kara, rubia, which for Ashkenazim is carrots, while Sephardim consider this the cowpea legume. We also make tzimis based on this, the rubia. We have fish. Besides the head of a fish, we should also eat fish. We have a rimin, as we said. We have the head of a ram, if not possible, then the head of another animal, head of a fish or a chicken. It is not our custom to recite yehi ratzon by any of these simanim other than the siman of the apple. There's no specific order that we've received in the simanim in Chabad. However, what we do know is that we always first eat the apple dipped in honey before eating any other of the simanim on the first night. It is not customary to eat the simanim the next day or on the second night. However, there are those that do so, but this is not Chabad custom. Foods that are avoided in Rosh Hashanah, we avoid eating nuts. Likewise, nut cake is to preferably be avoided. We avoid eating sour and pickled foods. We avoid eating goat meat. Some poskim write to avoid eating black grapes. It is not necessary to avoid eating garlic. All sour fruits should preferably be avoided. It is permitted, however, to season foods with, for example, lemon and things of the like in order for it to taste good. It is especially important as a siman to be joyful and happy on Rosh Hashanah as a good omen, and this, of course, is no less of an omen than the eating of all the other sweet fruits that we have on this night. Regarding Birchas Hamazon, so if a person forgets to say Ya'aleh V'Yaveh on the first night of Rosh Hashanah, then he must repeat Birchas Hamazon. However, if he forgets to say Ya'aleh V'Yaveh during the meal of Rosh Hashanah, of the day meal, then he is not to repeat Birchas Hamazon. If, however, he remembers before saying Baruch Atah Hashem of the bracha V'Teiva Meitiv, then he is to go back and say a bracha that was instituted instead of Ya'aleh V'Yaveh. We avoid sleeping on Rosh Hashanah day in order so our mazel in Shemayim also is awake and is davening for us to achieve for us a good year. And it's brought down in Svarim that for this reason one should wake up before sunrise in order not to sleep into Rosh Hashanah. This was also the custom of the Groner family, as was retold to me by Rav Leibel Groner, and of the Landau family, as was retold to me by the son of Yaakov Landau, Eli Landau, that they would wake up before sunrise since they were small children.